Hello, welcome to the Pitlane Pals Podcast. I'm Caden.
And I'm Niklas.
And we have a lot of topics to talk about today from Monza this last weekend. We're about a weekend late on this due to technical difficulties.
we're about a weekend late.
With headphones and other issues. But Charles Leclerc won. And what's funny about that is nobody's talking about the fact that Charles Leclerc won in Monza as a Ferrari driver. Because we're talking about the disaster of the McLaren management from whoever is fucking responsible for their strategy team. It reminds me a lot of Ferrari 2018, like 2018 to 2022 Ferrari, before fucking what's his name? Mattia left. Mattia Bonito.
Yeah, Mattia Binotto.
Bonito.
Mattia Binotto.
Too American to pronounce his name. But which he's actually back this weekend, isn't he?
Soon to be Audi
Sauber, whatever the fuck.
Audi Sauber team principal, no?
Yeah, I think which is interesting to me because
I feel like it's such a bold choice to make. I feel like he's got he's got some sort of reputation. Not that it's a good one.
Yeah.
But he's been in the position. He's made his experience.
And I feel like everybody disliked him when he was in that position too.
Exactly. So it is a really, really bold pick.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll get into that probably a little bit later. But with McLaren, I'm frustrated. Whether I am admittedly a McLaren fan, but whether I was or wasn't, I just can't wrap my head around the idea of not. It's your first chance to win a championship in years. Since, well, I mean, the last time McLaren was even competitive was early 2010s, late 2000s. And so you have years and years of being in this drought, of being a midfield constructor, and you're finally going to have an opportunity, and then you're going to go, papaya rules, fair racing. and in full honesty, I don't know if they were like, yeah, you guys can fight, but clearly they aren't. Even if they weren't like that, then they clearly were not enforcing it on Oscar enough to be like, hey, let's give Lando a chance to get points here because Max is P7. This could have been a nearly 20-point advantage, something for McLaren this weekend, and yet it's the same gap from first to second that it would have been anyways.
It's just, I feel like papaya rules is, in general, the idea that they're not supposed to crash, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I think Norris has said this. At the end of the day, they're not supposed to crash. Racing, but no crashing. I feel like that's something they should have introduced with the background of like, okay, guys, obviously, this is an important race for us. Papaya rules 100%. But let's first build a gap. Let's, get the distance going, have a nice race start, and then you guys can fight. Like this is literally what happened in the race was Oscar sent it like that would be the fourth corner or something. And Norris lost the position and he was pretty much stuck behind Leclerc until the pit stops.
Yeah. And no offense to Charles. Charles drove an amazing race. Full credit.
Yeah.
Whatever. Great strategy by Ferrari. Something we don't normally say. Until, this year they've been honestly on their shit. But
true.
That he does not win that race if Oscar does not make that move.
Yeah.
And I like Oscar. I think he's a funny little dude. It's like I liked Kimi Räikkönen the same way I like Oscar Piastri,
They are very similar. That's true.
Yeah, but it does. I don't think Lando, because he broke a little early into that corner where he got overtaken. What was it?
He did.
Turn 4?
I think it's turn 4.
Turn 4.
1,
I think so.
2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Well, theoretically he was overtaken in turn 5, but
yeah,
I think you count chicane as 1 too. But yeah.
He broke a little late there though, and I think, or a little early. Sorry, a little early there, and I think a large portion of that is just because I don't think he fucking saw out of his peripheral vision Oscar. I think he was just in his own world, like, oh great, we got the front row locked out right now. We're just gonna cruise for a minute. No, Oscar just goes, fuck you. You're not winning this race. I want to win. And like, I get it. But we need to get our shit together a little bit. And I feel like, yeah, go ahead.
You know what doesn't sit right with me? And this is going to be a quote from 2 races ago. Okay. You're going to need Oscar to win this championship.
Yeah, in Hungary. You're going
to need Oscar to win this championship.
Now is the time.
now is the time
that he needs
and
Oscar.
We got Oscar action, and we need Oscar, but we didn't get it in the way we needed it. So
exactly. So if he needs Oscar, when?
Exactly.
He's gonna need Oscar in this championship. When? Because I don't see any other time. There's 7 races to go. And
I think so, roughly.
7,
I think a bit more, actually.
Probably should be more educated on my specifics here, but I think there's roughly 7 races to go, and Lando is down roughly, I think, 64 something points maybe right now, and this is again the best chance you've had at a drivers' championship, not only in Lando's career, but since Lewis Hamilton was driving for you in fucking 2007, 2009, and it's just like.
Yeah.
Those, it's frustrating to watch, and I think it's funny too. Will Buxton, I don't usually agree with anything that man says.
Actually,
well, it's Will Buxton. I mean, half the time he just goes. Remember when his Drive to Survive clip came on, and he was
yeah.
He's like, "You want to qualify first or whatever, because your competitors will be behind you." It's like, okay. All right,
qualifying is most important because if you qualify first, 19 drivers are starting behind you.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, and so it's like, if he wasn't out there though saying these things, I don't even know if McLaren would have had the wake up call that they did, because I saw an article from about Andrea Stella saying that we need to implement teamwork till the end of the season after Monza. Implement teamwork, which I assume means maximize your driver's championship opportunities. Hopefully, we'll see.
Do you think so? Because, I
like to believe so.
I think we like to hope so, because it would make a lot of sense. But then again, why was this wake up call needed? I mean, the maths was definitely done in some of the. Of the team gatherings where they said, Lando is leading right now in the team standings. Constructors, if we keep on doing the way we're doing, we're probably going to be winning. And the drivers' championship really just comes down to if Lando's able to actually decrease that gap. And they're even on Instagram, there were so many posts where it was like, yeah, Lando needs to be in this and this and this position in order to win the championship.
Yeah.
And I feel like moving forward, we're hoping that they're just going to be prioritizing the constructors championship, the drivers championship. But really, why this late if they didn't see it as a priority before?
Because truly, look at Zach Brown. Look at the way he speaks and he talks to the media. And when Will Buxton was kind of drilling him in the interview after the race, he's kind of timid, and so I'm not a Zach Brown hater by any means, but I don't know if he has the balls to be to say to Oscar we're gonna prioritize Lando, because obviously Oscar's a driver you don't want to lose either. And neither is Lando Norris, and I think he's kind of scared of losing one or the other.
I feel like if he were to say this towards Oscar, Zach would literally have Mark Webber at his neck, because he's obviously the what it's called. He's supporting Oscar. I think he's his manager. I believe. And
I think so, yeah.
as Buxton already said very famously, Mark Webber was not really a fan of being second driver Red Bull. So I presume this was actually something Multi 21 Lando. This is definitely something Mark looked out for when he was probably even looking for a contract with Oscar, and he decided for McLaren that there is actually the clause where there is no first or second driver.
And because they never really do address either one of them as driver 1 or 2. They never do that.
Sure.
And I don't necessarily agree with going in with a driver 1 and a driver 2, but I do believe when one driver is clearly ahead of the other in the championship about a certain point in the season, there's a point where you have to be like, let's favor this one. And I think, again, at Red Bull, for example, Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez. Sergio just wants to be at Red Bull at this point. It's the best chance he has to get on podiums, even if he's not currently. And it's the best way to stay on the grid. With Oscar, though, one of the best young talents in the sport, so is Lando at this point. Both young. I mean, obviously Lando's been in F1 for a while, but he's still young. He came in at a really young age. I think they only have like a 1-year age gap, actually.
I think so too, actually.
But
I'm not sure.
All of these, like, it's like it's scary, I think, for Zach Brown to lose one or the other, and so he doesn't really want to enforce team orders. None of the team does, because you lose Oscar, that sucks. You lose Lando, that sucks. You don't want to piss him off, but I think there has to be a meeting where you sit down and say, neither one of you are driver 1 or driver 2. But at this point in the season, with this many races left, only one of you has a genuine shot at the Drivers' Championship. And I get maybe Hungary. It's Oscar's first chance for a win. That's a big deal. You don't want to take away that from him. It sucked, but I get it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Monza, you have Oscar P2, Lando P3. No win at stake at this point because Leclerc is ahead. Why do you not just slow Oscar down? That
swap.
Your exact question earlier was when does you need Oscar come into effect? That was the opportunity for it to come into effect. That's at least 3 more points in Lando's favor. That didn't happen. I know everybody in the world is saying the same thing right now, but it is frustrating because this is Max has won 3 in a row.
We want someone different,
and, Yeah, and it's like I think it is funny though, because like this is literally like what we watched with Ferrari for years, but the thing is too is that McLaren is the fastest on the average weekend, yes, but they aren't the fastest by enough to make mistakes.
Yeah.
They have to be on point at this point in the season.
True.
Again, Oscar lunging past Norris. That fucked up because, yes, they might be the fastest if they stayed ahead there, but now Leclerc has the advantage, and that might just give away that advantage, that small advantage they did have, because, yes, they were the fastest. Not by a ton, though. Ferrari looked quick that weekend from the beginning.
I feel like in Hungary, the championship wasn't really a talk yet. I feel like in Hungary, as they let Oscar through again, it was more like, now it's his time to get his first win. The idea of, okay, we might actually be fighting for the championship here, and this might actually be important for the championship, wasn't really up for grabs yet, because I believe Hungary was the first race where they were actually like that dominant. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
It was Hungary. I think Hungary was where it started.
Looked that fast, yeah.
Yeah. But it should have just they should have used Oscar. They should have let Lando in front to try and maximize drivers, but they didn't. But I feel like also very interesting in the Monza GP is I know you're American, so I know that losing Logan Sargent is very, very deep at heart topic for you, which is okay. But you have to say, Colapinto did a really good job.
The eagle lost its wings, The flag lost its stars. Country music lost its twang. But he did good. He didn't crash.
He did pretty good.
He was thrown in last minute. I do have respect for.
And a lot of overtakes. I think he actually had the most of everyone in that race.
Did he?
I think so. Yeah, I think I saw an F1
I didn't
posted about
actually
this.
know that, and that's probably because my entire feed is just people arguing about McLaren. Like I said, Leclerc won Monza, and instead of seeing, I saw like a little bit, but other than seeing that all week, it's been McLaren slander, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But still, yeah. I mean, I don't even know where he goes. Like, if he does well for the rest of the year, there's no open seats anymore, really.
True. But
not in the Williams Academy, not in the Mercedes garage, not in any of the Mercedes buyers. So, and like, AlphaTauri has Liam Lawson supposedly coming in. Maybe. So
maybe.
I don't know.
True. I don't think he's actually going into any team next year. He's probably going to be
Lawson
staying
or-
reserve driver. No. Colapinto.
Mm.
He's because I don't think there's any space for him right now. At least not something that like could be expected. But really, going into F1 middle of the season and delivering first race like that, if he's building from here, that's the best thing you can have on a resume. And if you have the question between younger drivers and someone who's who's still young, but who's been in F1, who's driven and who's driven pretty well, that's definitely going to be something that like they're going to be deciding over. Like I feel that's something
Behrman
that is definitely going to be helping, and it definitely helped Behrman. Yeah, very true.
So I think there's as much as this is a sore topic, probably. Nick DeVries, another example of that, got points in a Williams. He did end up being terrible, but I do think it was a mental thing for him a little bit. There was too much pressure on his seat very quickly.
True.
Because and I don't believe it was because he was doing bad as much. It was, but not as much as it was because Daniel Ricciardo. They just wanted him in. But anyways, my point is with how do you say his name? Because I just saw it as Cole all weekend.
I think it's actually Colapinto.
Colapinto?
Colapinto, yeah.
Okay. Well, with Colapinto, I think I hope that's right. Otherwise, I'm gonna look like a dumbass. We're both gonna look like dumbasses.
We're both gonna look like idiots. Yeah. It's okay.
We'll go down together. But I think what it comes down to for him is he needs to at least have one or two standout races where he somehow is competing or does successfully achieve points. Because there's so much competition right now for driver spots that just driving okay and getting by is not going to be enough to make him stand out among other F2 drivers or other candidates that are looking for seats still. So I think he's going to need one or two. And if he does, he will probably go back to being a reserve. And then if something opens up next year, which I don't even know whose contracts expire at the end of the year, but I'm not going to even, that's too much.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure either.
Or at the end of next year, I should say, not this year.
Yeah.
I just don't know because everyone's contract was expiring in 2025. So it's like now that they all have new contracts, is there even a spot for him? I just don't know. I mean, it's better than he's probably never getting a drive. I admittedly did not know who this dude was.
Me neither.
So
no
I think
clue.
You texted me and you were like, "Who is this?" And I'm like, "I don't know.
Who is this guy?"
So this is a better opportunity than he probably would have ever got.
True.
So hopefully he does something with it. I'm rooting for him. But
his sponsors are definitely backing him. I think he's actually paying $500,000 per race, which is, I'm not joking you. Yeah, I think he's paying $500,000 to do it. Yeah, to be in the team per race.
Shit. I guess I see now, especially why Williams was like, "Fuck Logan Sargent." We're paying Logan Sargent to drive for us. This guy's gonna pay us to drive for us. Then fuck Logan. Like,
yeah.
I mean, Logan was ass regardless. But
it's been a terrible relationship with Logan. Really, like, I feel like his crash in practice in the Dutch Grand Prix kind of was just like, well, even escalated even more because there was just like no reason for him to stay on throttle even though he's going onto the grass, and then absolutely wreck his car.
Yeah.
And that was just, at least in F1, no future for him. He's obviously a really good racing driver since he got there, but it's been consistently underperforming Alex. Not really been,
I do think Alex is a
even
rough
staying
teammate
close
to
to
have.
Alex. He is very much a rough teammate to have, 100%.
Because he's outperforming that Williams dramatically, and clearly, since they know that Williams is also being built for him. No disrespect to Alex. I obviously think he's a significantly better driver. I'm not defending Logan. He sucked. He had his time. He had his chance. He fucked up. I do think, though, he just came into F1 too early.
True.
Should have waited
100%.
another year, because
yeah,
he was very underdeveloped, but they rushed him in for money because they wanted an American on the grid, which I get, but he had 2 years.
I mean,
all I was asking was for him to get one more year, and they gave it to him, and he was still ass. So whatever, I'm not gonna argue.
He left with his crown. Everything's okay.
I feel like he'll go to IndyCar and be good, probably.
I think he will go to IndyCar, full stop. With the second statement, I'm not too sure, but we will see.
Well,
maybe he'll be great in IndyCar.
You understand the worst F1 drivers are still better than most IndyCar drivers. That's the thing.
Nikita Mazepin.
Did he go to IndyCar?
No, I think he's kind of still like trying to find a seat, but he hasn't found one.
I don't think anybody wants him because he's Russian.
I think he's definitely up there with the worst. That's for sure.
Well, I think first of all, he just sucked as a person, as a driver, everything.
True.
He not only was the worst F1 driver I've seen in my lifetime with my own 2 eyes. I know there's probably been worse. I just can't. Whatever. But since I've been watching. And then he also was kind of a shitty dude. Like, he was annoying to, like, he had a bunch of bad press. And then on top of that, not to get political, but he was Russian, and I don't think that helped his case, especially if you're going to an American racing series such as IndyCar. I just don't think that's going to fly over very well. I mean, that's literally why he got dropped. So
I feel like, especially with the case of Daniel Ricciardo, who obviously had some success. He had a lot of success back in his days at Red Bull, and he was also actually pretty good at Renault, and it just kind of has been downfalling since McLaren. It shows how important it is to be good with the media, because Ricciardo is a media angel. Like, I feel like at least 60% of why he's still in F1, maybe even 70%, is because he's literally perfect for media.
Yeah.
Like, he's big smiles, perfect energy, and everyone loves to see Ricciardo do good.
And so I will say, bringing that back to the topic at the original thing, Logan was relatively liked by people, though. Like, as a person, he was liked. He was just shit. There was a lot of fans I would see on social media that had like fan accounts for him, and maybe that was because he was American, but he was quieter, but like he didn't seem like he seemed like there was no bad press surrounding him ever. So I think he won't have a hard time getting a drive in IndyCar, and I honestly do wish the best for him in IndyCar. But yeah, he was just shit compared to Alex.
Didn't work out
on a weekly basis.
Speaking of didn't work out, what's your take on Sauber? I mean, Guan Yu Zhou has been doing terribly all year, but to be fair, so has been Bottas.
But
I feel like ever since
it's terrible,
the kick Sauber has come in all season long, they've just been so slow.
Yeah. Well, remember when Haas in 22, where they didn't put anything, or no, 2021, sorry, 21, where they didn't put any development into their car all season because they knew that they were going to put it into the new regs. That's how I feel with Sauber for the next few years. I think that they know Audi's coming in. That's going to be their money supplier. Kick is money. It's not that much money, though. It's not Audi money. Or Stake. I don't know who the official sponsor is. I know Stake owns Kick, but I don't know which one they're I don't know.
I'm not sure either.
I don't know. It's a fucking neon green car. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. But yeah. So I think they're just pushing off development a little bit until Audi comes in and takes over. And see where it goes from there. It does make me wonder though, like how good that team's going to come in and be, because they are putting a lot into that season, into that first return, or that first. Is it Audi's? Is they really returning, or are they the first? Is it their first ever time in F1?
I think it's the first.
Okay, I'm gonna ride with.
I could be wrong, but I don't remember an Audi sponsored car.
Mm-hmm.
I could be fully wrong.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I'm
I
too
think
young.
it's the first time that Audi is in F1. I'm also too young.
Yeah, I'm too young.
And you started watching F1 way before I did. So
true. But yeah, I think I'm just not super concerned with them, and I did like Guan Yu Zhou. I don't remember which way to say it. But I think the issue with Zhou is that he never crashes, sure, but he never does anything.
That's the issue with him.
He never does anything. And Bottas isn't much better. But Bottas does at least have the occasional, like, oh, hey, look, he qualified P12.
True.
And he gets some praise for it.
True. Yeah.
Before this year, they were a bit closer. I think, like they were debatable on, like, who was the better driver. Not the better driver, but who was doing better. And I think it was Bottas still, but Zhou didn't look bad. But now it's just like, all right, you've been in F1 for 3-4 years now. You haven't done anything at all. You've gotten points a couple times.
Yeah.
There's just got
just no
Hülkenberg
future
coming in. I don't even. That's the only confirmed driver for them, I believe. Right.
I think it's only Hülkenberg right now. Yeah. Second one is still.
And then it's going to be probably Bottas, is my assumption.
Do you think so? I'm not sure. I feel like that would be a spot where they would be, because Hülkenberg is a very, very experienced driver. And I mean, if they have Hülkenberg and Bottas, it's like, okay, I mean, they're carrying some of the oldest drivers on the grid.
Yes.
Not that the older the worse,
but that's what
I will say. I think some new driver and some younger driver, it doesn't even have to be academy, but like at least Liam Lawson would definitely mix up the grid a bit.
I don't know. Maybe if Red Bull does not offer Liam a seat next year, maybe he looks elsewhere. But I don't think Red Bull's going to loan him to Sauber. I don't know.
Do you think they're going to be kicking Ricardo off RB?
Quietly, yes.
You think so?
Well, I'm going to while we're talking, I'm going to pull up the standings here so I can fact check my numbers. But
just so you know, my iPad has just turned off and I'm looking at a black screen. I think it has no more battery, but it's fine.
It's okay.
I'll just talk to myself.
It's okay. What's it called? Yuki Tsunoda, yes, they are P12 and P13 right now, but Yuki Tsunoda has 10 more points than Daniel Ricciardo in a car that isn't very good. So those 10 points are substantial. And Daniel Ricciardo, over the course of the year, just hasn't impressed. There's moments I see Yuki Tsunoda on TV, and he does something where you're like, damn, that was a good race, or damn, that was a good overtake. Daniel Ricciardo maybe has one dive down the inside every few weeks, and the media goes crazy, and they say, the honey badger's back. And
True. Yeah.
I don't know. I like Ricciardo, but I do think his media, like we were talking about earlier, keeps him on the team.
100%.
And so, yeah, I don't know. But I think if you're going to do anything, if I was running Red Bull or Visa Cash App RB and the Red Bull
Terrible name.
team.
Terrible team name.
Yeah, but they have the best livery on the grid, in my opinion. It's okay. Livery's dropped a long time ago. I'm not gonna talk about that right now. I just love that livery.
That's a topic for a different podcast. For a different episode.
Next year, when the liveries are coming out again, we'll revisit.
We're definitely rating them. We're definitely 100%.
But yeah, if I could do anything, if I was running that team right now, Lawson goes to RB. As much as Sergio, well, if I could do anything, I'd put Yuki Tsunoda at Red Bull, wholeheartedly. Yeah, I think he's done enough to deserve it, and I think the longer you make him wait, the more you're just going to lose it. I don't know. That's another topic, I guess, long-term topic, but I think the most likely scenario, or a somewhat likely scenario, is Ricciardo gets dropped, you bring in Lawson, and then you keep Sergio for next year and see which Lawson or
I
Tsunoda.
feel is criminal.
I agree.
Keeping Sergio for another year is
I fully agree. But what option do you have unless promoting Yuki?
You need to try, honestly. Like
Sergio
agree. Is.
I've been preaching Yuki to get a seat at Red Bull for years.
I don't know if Yuki is right though. I feel like what just doesn't sit right with me with Yuki is he's like recently said something about like he's been performing the best, and like it doesn't seem like he matures. It doesn't seem like he has matured. Like I feel like every single time when something a little bit stressing happens, Yuki his response is just so impulsive. And I feel like that's really what has been holding him back. Because, like, realistically, I mean, Red Bull already has Max who loves to stream back. We know that. Mm-hmm. But Yuki is another step. He's so impulsive. Like, Yuki literally... He's quite loud on the radio. And for me, that's just something where I'm like, oof.
Yeah. No, I
don't know. I don't know if that's what Red Bull's looking for.
Yeah, that might be the issue. But he is quick. He consistently beats everyone he's been paired up against over the last 2 years. After Pierre Gasly left, he beat. You tested him against Nick DeVries, whooped him so bad he got dropped mid-season. Replaced him with Ricciardo, beat Ricciardo. Replaced him with Lawson for briefly because of the injury, beat Lawson.
Wasn't it equal with Lawson?
I think he slightly beat Lawson, but I think his overall performance was better, but Lawson was still it was impressive that he was competing with Yuki given the preparation and the difference in experience, obviously. So
true. Yeah.
But that's why I think Lawson and Yuki is the clear solution. Because Ricciardo's the worst out of the three right now. And I know he's like a PR merchant that gives you probably money and everything, but I'm kind of sick of it a little bit. But just because hey, you get rid of Ricciardo, maybe you give him a change of pace again. Maybe he goes to Sauber for a couple years.
I was actually thinking about that just now. Maybe Ricciardo goes to Sauber. That would be an insane swap.
Yeah,
but really, where's that going to get him?
Nowhere. Same place as before.
I don't know.
Probably losing to Hulkenberg. So,
Speaking of losing to Hulkenberg,
Kevin
Magnussen.
I was just
and for a race.
I was just about to pull the. Speaking of driving lineups, Kevin Magnussen. Kevin Magnussen is suspended for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix coming up, and is replaced with Oliver Behrman. And Kevin Magnussen being suspended, whatever, it's not like he has a seat on the line anyways. He already lost, whatever.
Did you see the crash? Was it a crash? I think it was a tap. Did you see what I sent you on Instagram? Like I literally sent you the collision they banned him for.
Let me check. Well, it's amount of getting a certain amount of penalty points.
No, I know. But I feel like the what happened definitely is something also a lot of drivers have been criticizing about the current penalty system, is that it's very, very soft.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, here, hold on. I'll watch it while we're talking. But yeah, I mean, I think it's like banning drivers for a race. 12 penalty points in a year, though, is just like, okay, yeah, I just saw what he did. That's a little. He locked up.
He locked up.
That's a little. All right. All right.
I mean, like that's. I mean, he even I think K-Mag actually complained about the penalty system on radio because he got 5 seconds for locking up.
Yeah, I think more things need to be chalked up as racing incidents.
True.
I think penalties should only be in place not for mistakes, not for they should be in place to prevent drivers from doing shit that's intentionally harming the other driver. Like if you are running into the side of another car intentionally, obviously this would never happen, but like intentionally you slam into the side of another car like you would in like a F1 video game coming in the corner.
Black flag.
Through goes Hamilton, and it's just
through goes Hamilton.
Like that is what they should be in place for, to keep drivers just in line and like what their intentions are, I guess would be my point. Like they should be in place to keep intentions in check, not a bunch of ridiculous mistakes. And that's where I'm like, he locks up into the corner, you're going to penalize him. Yes, obviously it hurt. Who did he hit? Stroll or Alonso? I don't even know.
I think it was actually Gasly, if I'm correct.
Oh, you're completely correct. Yeah, that's an Alpine, not a green car. The lighting looked funny. My bad. Might be colorblind.
Good morning, mate.
12:53 p.m. But yeah, I'm sure it hurt Gasly's race, but are we gonna punish Magnussen because he locked up? Like, I don't know. It's racing.
I feel like, in my opinion, it needs to be like an actual substantial difference that was caused because of the collision. Because I feel like, sure, it hurt Gasly's race. I don't know if he took a lot of damage from that. Did he?
Doesn't look like it.
Doesn't really look like it. It looks like he locked up. Okay, they had a little touch as far as I remember, and then it just went on in the same positions. Like that was definitely not. Magnussen didn't stay in front. And I feel like it should be seen as a penalty if this was a collision that Gasly had to pit because of where he lost at least, I don't know what, like something that substantially changed what his outcome could have been. Then it's like, okay, it's a penalty. Because I love hard racing, and I feel like I'm just a very big defender of let them race. You know?
Yeah.
Like, for example, but then I'm like, okay, looking back into the collision between Hamilton and Verstappen in Hungary, that's then a collision where it's definitely like, okay, you need to take into account that like Max was literally just driving like he was so aggressive because he was really annoyed with his team, and he sent an abnormal dive bomb into Lewis. They touched, and I believe he received a penalty, even though it didn't change Lewis' race that much, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I think then the penalty is still right because his intentions were off, you know?
Yeah. Because again, like that's exactly when it should be implemented, because Max basically out of anger dove on Hamilton in a completely immature way. Penalty.
Yeah.
Because the intentions were off. Exactly. Versus Kevin Magnussen accidentally locking up into a chicane and touching the side of Gasly and now getting banned for a race. That's a bit ridiculous.
I mean, obviously he's not getting banned because of that, as you've already said. You know, it's the 12 points per season. And Magnussen definitely has some overtake attempts that were definitely not okay. Like some of his stunts he pulls are like, you just look at it and you think, what the hell's going on here? Similar with Ocon. Like the two of them, they're definitely the Avengers in F1. But like, yeah. I feel like the last penalty point is a bit undeserved. If it would have been an overtake where he would have dive bombed from a mile away, like I think Hülkenberg did it on Tsunoda in Monza, if I'm correct. Like a dive bomb like that, where you could just see, okay, like he's literally just gonna crash into the other car. Then it's like, okay, give him the penalty. And I think Hülkenberg even got 10 seconds for that.
Yeah.
But for what Magnussen
Canada.
did, with no big difference, in Monza, I think Hülkenberg sent it into.
Oh, did he? Okay, I thought you were talking about when Tsunoda and I think it was Hülkenberg crashed into like a runoff area in Canada. That's what you're talking about. But yeah, continue.
No. That's when I'm like, okay, definitely penalty points deserved.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a bit harsh banning him. On the other hand, the other person that's smiling and doesn't give a fuck is Oliver Behrman. He's got another opportunity to drive in F1 this season. Twice in 1 year is pretty funny.
Do you think he's going to beat Hülkenberg?
No.
Be crazy.
Would I be surprised? No, but I don't think so. But I think he'll do well. But I do see a wake-up call coming in. Because the only F1 car he's ever drove was a Ferrari. And yes,
true.
Ferrari's not McLaren right now. Ferrari's not even Red Bull right now. And half the time they're not even Mercedes. But being in one of the top 4 teams right now is a completely different machine to being in a Haas. And so I do honestly possibly see, whether it's practice or qualifying or even the race, doing a little bit too much. Overcommitting in the car. Probably thinking you're going to get more out of it than you're actually going to get out of it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a good wake-up call for him, but a bad wake-up call by the media, because I think people are going to expect a little bit too much of him because he did so well last time.
I think so too.
And then he's going to be
expectations are very high right now.
Like, yes, he got P6 or something. I think it was P6.
Yeah.
Or no, he got 6 points. So 1, 2, 4, 6. Yeah, so it's P7, I think. Something like that.
I think it was actually P6. I'm not sure though.
I don't know. Whatever. I'm out a lot of it today. Apparently, I thought the car was green. I can't get my stats right. Who fucking cares? But yeah, I think it might wake him up a little bit, or wake us up a little bit. Like, okay, yeah, he did well, but it was a Ferrari. Let's be honest. And in the Haas, he's going to have to deal with a way slower car, and he might end up doing a bit too much. But maybe I underestimate the knowledge of how a driver can feel out a car. But I just naturally think that when your only experience driving an F1 was 1 weekend in one of the faster cars on the grid, and then your second opportunity is going to be one of the slower cars on the grid, and you only have a weekend, and you're trying to like show people that you know what to do, even though you already have a drive, you might overcommit a little bit. That's all. And I think, regardless, I think Hülkenberg will do better, just because he's driven all year. Behrman's good.
Yeah. It'll be different. It'll be very, very interesting for sure. It'll be hopefully a shocker.
It'd be cool.
I mean, it would be amazing. Imagine he beats Hülkenberg. Imagine he outqualifies Hülkenberg, because Hülkenberg has been really, really strong in quali.
Hülkenberg will definitely outqualify him, but somehow he stuns him. I'll be like, okay, my bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for him. Again, we don't need to talk too much about driver lineups for next year, because you've been doing that a lot for a race recap. But Ocon being his teammate does suck. I know Behrman slammed his desk a little bit when he found that out. He was like, "Fuck."
I think so too. I think Ocon is
sorry to any
like
Ocon fans, but every person that Ocon's been teammates with, it's not gone well. He's got a bad track record.
He does.
Yeah, he does. Trying to think what else happened this weekend.
Something that happened which I can't really wrap my head around is Stroll pitted second to last lap for the fastest lap attempt.
Oh, yeah.
But as he came out of the pits, he was out of the points that he would receive for getting the fastest lap.
Position was he in?
You need to be in. When he pit, I think he was P11.
How far was he?
Could be wrong. Not sure. I don't know, but he pitted and he came out like P16 or P17 or something. I think. I think he was pretty far down the order.
Far down, and it was like, why are you pitting on softs right now?
Why are
You're
you
not
going
gonna
on
get the
softs?
fastest
You're
lap.
not going to get the point, and you're not going to get the point. You don't get a point for the fast lap if you're out of if you're out of the top 10.
And
so
what's even funnier is doing that and then still losing fastest lap.
That's true.
But like, it's almost like Red Bull was like, "Hey, Aston, we need every point we can get right now. We think McLaren might get the fastest lap. You want to go for it real quick? We'll throw you a chunk of change." Like I know that's like that's obviously not what happened, but it's what.
So strange. I just think it's strange. It's really, really, really strange.
You don't benefit from taking the fastest lap from anybody because the only person that would have had it was not in your championship competition, and you weren't gonna get it anyways. So what was the point?
I can't.
Maybe Stroll was just bored.
Maybe he was bored. Maybe he wanted to.
Dad, I want.
Let me do one more hot lap. I swear.
I'll be good this time.
One hot lap, Dad.
I know I keep losing to Mr. Alonso, but I can do it this time. And he's like, okay.
God, I wish Stroll would just quit F1.
I feel like
I can't.
Yeah,
it's so bad.
And it sucks because he's never really gonna go anywhere. Like it's just one of those things you just gotta disregard.
Wasn't there this rumor that he's gonna be a fucking tennis player?
That'd be great,
like, dude. Hang it up already, please. I can't take this anymore.
I don't blame him necessarily because if I was in his shoes, I'd do the same shit.
100%, no question.
Free drive.
But still, like.
But like, I don't know, dude. You did it now. Like, can you just like go into media or something like every other retired F1 driver does?
Dude, Stroll in media. I don't think the media would even take him.
Yeah, he is kind of annoying.
Like, there are barely people that like him, and the only people that do live in Canada. So like,
who wakes up and is like, Lance Stroll's racing. I gotta. I don't
get it either.
There was a guy I used to follow on TikTok, who I forget his name. And I'm gonna sound like an asshole for forgetting it. You look up biggest Lance Stroll fan, I bet he'll pop up. But I used to follow him on TikTok because he spun a wheel because he never had a driver or a team to favor. He spun a wheel of all the drivers until it landed on one, and he landed on fucking Lance Stroll. And he was so upset when it happened, but then he fully embraced it. Like he has all the Lance Stroll gear. And I used to kind of think it was funny to root for Lance Stroll because I was like, if Lance Stroll wins, this guy gets to be happy. But yeah,
is there a tier list for the drivers' merch that doesn't sell well?
Oh, dude!
Like, imagine I would love to know about this. But like a tier list.
When I went to Miami, it was interesting because there were certain teams that you just didn't even see selling merch. Like at the majority of the stands, it was McLaren merch, Ferrari merch, Red Bull, Mercedes, and then and then like we were in America. I don't even think I saw Haas merch. Maybe like a hat or two. It's supposed to be an American team.
Definitely, yeah.
And at the time, Sargent wasn't in, so maybe there'd be like more Williams merch. I don't know, but there wasn't when I went. So like. There might be some Aston Martin fans out there.
I think so too, yeah.
But
Lance Stroll?
Who's supporting Lance Stroll? I wouldn't even want to support Aston Martin knowing that one of my driver's seats is always filled by the owner's son. Like that'd be a shitty team to root for. I don't know. Sorry for the Lance Stroll slander. If there's any slight chance that somebody who's a Lance Stroll fan actually watching.
Will definitely happen again in other episodes for sure. 100%.
Ocon, Stroll.
Sorry for the Lance Stroll slander. It's gonna happen again. Get over it.
Lance Stroll, Ocon are like my two. I can't think of anybody else I'd shit on too much, but Lance Stroll and Ocon. All right. Top three winners and losers from the race this weekend. I'm gonna start with the winners on my end. I think a winner that most people wouldn't view this way. I think I do kind of see Red Bull as a winner this weekend. Not because they did fintech particularly well, but because there was a minimal amount of damage because of McLaren being stupid.
True.
There
Damage limitation was
damage
extremely well done.
limitation was good, and not even they just kind of got lucky, because somehow Charles Leclerc ended up winning that race because Oscar Piastri goes, and so I do think subtly, because they weren't that quick this weekend anyways. I mean, Max qualified P7, that they were kind of winners because of the damage control, and not losing as many points to Norris in the championship. And I think the constructors is already kind of a given. Like, I don't think they're gonna win that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think they're gonna win the constructors. Another winner is Charles Leclerc, Ferrari. I think you won your home race, or Ferrari won their home race, and he's
a winner because he won.
He also won his home race in Monaco, as my hoodie says. So that's another big win for them. I am happy for him. I do like seeing a Ferrari win in Monza. It's I would love to experience a Ferrari win in Monza. And I'm trying to think of one more here. Another winner. Honestly,
do you want to take some time to think?
I have a funny one.
You have a funny one, all right.
Mark Webber. Mark Webber is a winner this weekend because team orders do not prevail, and that is a win for him this weekend.
I swear. Mark Webber and Piastri, when they saw each other, definitely a hug, maybe some kisses.
Yeah,
this was like, thank God, Mark, you spared me.
Oscar got out of the car the weekend before, and they were like, Mark is like, Oscar, what does papaya rules mean? What does that mean? He's like, got PTSD. He's like, no, it just means we can fight without touching. He's like, okay.
Oh.
God, thank God.
Oh.
He's like,
I thought Multi 21 almost.
He's like, goddamn Sebastian Vettel. He's like, I can picture of that war guy that like stares into the distance, the 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah,
that's Mark Webber. Every time he hears about team orders, he gets traumatized. But go ahead.
Yeah. For me, the top three, definitely up there. Ferrari, P1 and P4. Nothing you can actively complain about. I feel like the strategy was then just too long for Sainz to actually hold on to third, or second. I mean, both were coming by. He was just not really able to manage it, and Leclerc did a fantastic job. I mean, he was managing the front left like a king. You could literally see the graining on the McLaren's cars in like 5 laps time, and he was on like, I don't know what, 30 lap old cards at that point, and they literally still looked new. So that was insane. I'm kind of naming constructors right now, but I will also say Williams, because Albon finished in the points. I think it was P9, P8 or something. Yeah. And Carlo Pinto did a great job as well. Definitely hit the ground running. Definitely very, very interested in seeing what he's going to be doing in the future. And also, I will say, I mean, you always kind of expect Mercedes to do well, but you've definitely had races where they've done worse. But I think they were P5 and P6 or P5 and P7, which I feel like for them was also damage limitation. They definitely did an okay job. And actually, no, not really Mercedes. Really, I just don't like Red Bull. Okay, yeah, Red Bull was a winner this weekend. I will say it. I said it. Damage limitation, 100%. And Paris all of a sudden woke up and did a great job. So that was impressive to see. And it was definitely one of the very, very few races where the drivers were actually close together in the standings. So that was great. Yeah.
3 losers. My first loser is, it's like almost 2 in 1, but McLaren and Lando are 2 separate losers. McLaren loses 100%. Because they should have won that race. And Lando loses because he should now be a significant more amount of points ahead in the championship. And he wasn't. And don't get me wrong, it's not that he didn't have an opportunity to win. He did start from pole. Maybe he should have just kept the lead, and I fully get that argument. But again, this is funny, but I just don't think he knew that Oscar was going to go down down his outside, around the outside. I can't speak. When he did.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I don't know why, but he broke early. Because he had the inside. That's where you want to be. I don't know. It was weird. So that's one. Another loser this weekend, I'm going to say, is Carlos Sainz. Not because he did particularly bad, but it's just because there's a lot of hype around him winning his birthday weekend, and then he just
missed it.
Yeah, he kind of just whatever. Wasn't that great this weekend. Yeah. And then my last loser is Kevin Magnussen. Suspended for a race. He's only got so many races left in his career, probably, because I doubt he's getting a seat after this year ever again, and he's losing a big opportunity, or just one of his last opportunities to experience driving in a Formula One car, with the suspension. So that's a loss for him.
Yeah. I feel like K-Mag's definitely up there. Mm-hmm. If I were able to take Logan Sargent, but that would be unfair.
That would have been a good one. That's a good
because he quite literally lost his drive.
Yeah,
but K-Mag is up there. Biggest losers of the season pretty much has been the stake of one team. They've just been like consistently bad. So I feel like they're definitely up there as well. Mm-hmm. And the crown winner definitely goes to McLaren, because like, as I heard Papaya rules, it was like I kind of shook together. At the same time, there was hope, because I was thinking like, okay, Papaya rules, maybe this is prioritizing a championship. Okay, could have been. Could have been. I mean, constructors they're definitely prioritizing, but like I thought maybe the drivers as well. Nope, wrong. They did not prioritize the drivers. So
yeah,
but we'll see how it develops the next 2 races, and really we just have to hope that the McLaren dominance, at least this season, does continue, so they actually get the constructors, because I don't want to see another Red Bull Constructors Championship. And the season has been very, very interesting. We've had a lot of different winners, and we've had pretty much a really close constructors fight. Not really, but like it's been closer than the past 2 seasons before that. So yeah, definitely McLaren taking the crown and the biggest losers, even though obviously they didn't actually lose out that much. It's just the way they handled the situation.
The biggest losers of all time, actually, now I'm thinking about it, are Lando Norris fans. Being a Lando Norris fan is
it's harsh.
The moment I thought, oh, he kept the lead into turn 1. No way. Oscar got off the line better. I was like, shit. And then Lando gets it down to turn 1.
Every single start as a Lando Norris fan is just...
You just have to know when he gets pole position,
traumatizing.
He's finishing lap 1 in P3. Like,
it's so bad. It's so bad.
Every time.
And then like back in the day, you were able to still say, okay, he started P2. He started on the dirty side of the racetrack. Of course he's gonna lose to the others.
He's pole.
But bro, pole position, I don't know. I don't know. He gets so much wheel spin. Especially I feel like he doesn't even react that bad. It's just like second gear. He just gets a ton of wheel spin. But they're looking into it. This time he at least had the lead until the first corner, so maybe those are good signs for the future. Progress, I guess.
I think coming next weekend, last final thought is I almost would rather have somebody not named Oscar Piastri on the inside. If Lando's pole, I kind of hope Piastri's like 3rd.
Yeah, I think so
I think that might be his biggest worry. I like McLaren. I want them to do well. I want Piastri to do well. I like Piastri.
Yeah.
But I think from Lando's point of view, he's probably hoping that Piastri maybe has a little bit worse of a qualifying. Final thoughts?
Great race.
Yeah, it was a good race. Beyond all the complaining, it was a great race. I'm just complaining.
We're complaining with a golden spoon in our mouth, because we're talking about a McLaren championship hope, which has not happened for a while.
And not even just that, but like despite, like, I think we're F1 fans right now we're eating good.
We're eating really good.
Sucked so much, and not because I don't like Max, not because I don't like Red Bull, but it was every weekend. It was ridiculous. And I can respect it, but I do like seeing competition. in championship competition. So
I definitely
I
agree.
can't complain about
Yeah.
the state of the championship right now. I would say I don't have all the ats off the top of my head yet, but follow us on TikTok, YouTube, whichever podcasting platform you may listen to. I'm going to start uploading on those as well. Pitlane Pals, probably just search it up. You'll find us.
We'll be there.
The same logo with the black car and the red text. I'm gonna name drop them. Designed by my friend, Jaden. Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for listening. And expect hopefully, roughly every week, but we do have busy lives, so we'll try and at least get to every race that happens.
We'll try and make it work.
All right. Thank you all for listening, and have a great rest of your day, evening, night, whatever it may be. Goodbye.